In 1 second of time, your conscious mind processes with 2,000 neurons, while in the same second, your subconscious mind is processing with 4 billion neurons. That ratio is exactly the same ratio between an ant and an elephant. The ant is the conscious mind, the elephant, the subconscious mind. I want to go on a diet, says the conscious mind, the elephant. I'm going to walk west on the back of the elephant. I'm walking west on the back of the elephant. What if the elephant is headed east? You know, the ant thinks he's going west, but ends up east. I want to go on a diet. Subconscious mind goes, I don't think so, and then ends up in a different way. And so how do we point our ant and elephant and get them pointed in the same direction? So what I'm going to walk you through here is my story, this Olympic story, that this recreational skier to the gold medal round in the Olympic Games in just 4 years. How to get that far, that fast in a very competitive landscape with all sorts of obstacles, with the necessity of resiliency, and actually exceed my own expectations because of what I was able to accomplish, can then help us in this time that's challenging, in this time that it's a setback, and how we can break through, not just professionally with our business, but personally as well. And I'll take you through the formula, 5C formula, how to break through from these setbacks that we're experiencing right now. But the emotional buzz also has this, it has fear attached to it. Now, the reason we have to have this combination of what we aspire towards, but also the fear, is that is the human getting. Well, you know the term fearless. It's not about being without fear. It's about fearing less. It's being able to have this fear, but bottle up and realize this fear has significance to it. If something scares you, then it's important to you. So to have something deep down that causes some anxiety, pay attention to that anxiety and wrap your mind around what is it about that that's important that I don't want to lose or be a part of or miss out on. And so to combine the emotional buzz of both the fear and the aspirational notion, something that marching in the opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games gave a tingle up and down the spine. I was like, oh, I'd love to do that. So right now, having that physical reaction from the emotional buzz is critical. The number one question I get asked all the time is, how at 26 years old did you just decide to go to the Olympic Games? I didn't start at 26 years old. It was defining moments that lead us to a place to make a decision. I'm going to show you actually a video of the sport of speed skiing. Now, speed skiing is straight down the side of the mountain. There's no turns. It was a demonstration sport in the Olympics in Albertville. At the time, I was living in Calgary, Canada, where we hosted the Olympic Games. Remember Eddie the Eagle and the Jamaican bobsled team, those Olympic Games. Well, each country gets to choose their demonstration sport, and in this case, the French chose speed skiing. They dominated in the sport. They had the world record holder, the top racers, best tracks, and even the best skis are made in France. Every once in a while, that will happen. You'll crash. I put lots of crashes in this video because I know that's what you really want to see anyways. And the outfit that we have is a skin-tight rubber suit, Darth Vader style helmet. You see how the mouth is covered? That's to avoid something called the reverse enema. You're going at such a high speed of 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds. A Ferrari can only do it in 4. And so as you're bombing down the track and getting up to over 125 miles an hour, mental toughness is critical. Mental toughness means overcoming the instinct to flinch. Well, how do you not flinch in real time? How do you not have instinct? And that's one of the biggest challenges within the sport of speed skiing. Then you cross one beam, and 100 meters later, you cross a second beam. Every once in a while, you will catch an edge. This is the crash segment of the video. None of these crashes are me. I've crashed 3 times at about 100 miles an hour, and 2 kinds of crash. Outside edge, you see his left ski catches an outside edge. He goes down and proceeds to snap his right femur. So things can get ugly pretty quickly in speed skiing, and you just have to focus on going faster and not what could go wrong. This guy here is going to catch his inside edge, the other kind of crash. Watch his right ski, takes weight off that ski, the ski pops off. And in this case, you have a second or two to think, oh, I'm screwed. And then you go down. And actually what you'll remember is the sound of, it's the suit melting into your skin. If you go off the track, then every once in a while, bonk, a snowball will get you. That guy there is from Kenya. That was his first and last run. He didn't like it much after that. all of us had the same idea, including the guy from Kenya. Wouldn't it be fun to be in the Olympic Games? And so a lot of downhill racers, a lot of ski racers came out of retirement. Former world record holders, Steve McKinney, Franz Weber came out of retirement, all with the same idea to compete in the Olympic Games in Albertville, France in speed skiing. There are gold, silver, bronze medals in those demonstration sports. And so people had that aspiration to get to those Olympic Games, including yours truly, that maybe one day could take home a gold medal and really fulfill a dream, not just to be in the Olympic Games, but to take home a gold medal. So that's the sport of speed skiing. To understand how we can set a huge, massive goal and then reach that goal, we kind of have to define how we make decisions and how we take action on those decisions. And I'm going to introduce you to the cognitive model of how we make decisions. Now, focus first on the word actions. Is we first go to what actions are necessary for me to get the results that I want. And of course, you want positive results. Every once in a while, we get negative results, and we think, shoot, this didn't work out the way I wanted it to. If we saw something happen right now, and we have about 190 people on this call, we would each have our own 190 different versions of our beliefs, attitudes, and truths. Now, remember Dr. Poulos's research. In a second of time, your conscious mind uses 2,000 neurons, while your subconscious mind is processing with 4 billion neurons. The beliefs, attitudes, and truths can be conscious, what we're aware of, but we have a whole bunch of beliefs, attitudes, and truths below the surface. We can have unconscious judgments, and then we act in a way that's almost mystifying. Why didn't I do that? Why did I procrastinate? Why did I put that off? Why did I say that? Why did I not pick up the phone and make the call? Why? So we have some things that are holding us back, and being able to take a guided tour through why we make those decisions and how we can do that better is to do a little retrospect. I'm going to give you some homework, and if you're taking notes, I'd encourage that. For Glow members, you'll have access to this video after, so you can look over this video as we go through it. So look at the defining moments that have occurred in your life, and you'll reveal decisions that you make. You'll reveal decision-making habits, because we're creatures of habit. So here's your homework: to list off defining moments in your life. Now, when we talk about clarity of vision, that emotional buzz is such a critical piece. Make sure that as you start to look at what that future scenario is for you, that you have a real clear sensation from it. That you can do this by having more clarity on what that is, by bringing in the 5 senses, or what it looks like, smells like, tastes like, sounds like, and the textures associated with that. Maybe the awards or a piece of paper congratulating you or something like that. And even couple that with the emotional quotient, meaning, what is the gratitude attached to that? What is the satisfaction attached to that? That qualifies as an emotional buzz. That's clarity on what you would just love to create. Clarity vision isn't just about putting a picture on your fridge and going, okay, I want to create this. It's an actual experience. The second C in this formula in Elephant Power is commitment. And if you change commitment from an episodic notion to one where it's ongoing, where you're consistently re-upping, you're testing your level of commitment. Could it be higher? Could I raise my level of commitment? Under the third C of consistency, we can get so frustrated because we don't see results. Let's say we had an emotional buzz of turning a bucket of water blue. Now, this bucket, by the way, is 5,000 gallons. It's massive. It's about the size of a Volkswagen on its end. And this 5,000-gallon bucket of water is clear sides. But if we had a blue bucket, we have an emotional buzz about that. We'd love to have a blue bucket. It was just, you just imagine this, you know what I mean? But to have a blue bucket, to go, I would love to have a blue bucket. Oh, here's the rule. You can't put more than 1 drop of blue dye in the bucket per day. And if you miss a day, you can't catch up the next day with 2 drops. So 1 drop of dye in the bucket per day. You're excited. This is going to be a blue bucket. And you walk up. You take that dropper of dye. Whoop, the dye goes in, disappears. You go in the next day. Whoop, next day. Whoop, next day. Whoop. What's happening to that blue dye? It's dissipating and disappearing. We're not seeing the incremental results. And we're in a world based on instant what? Gratification. If we don't see results, we're going to move on to the next color. Somebody might influence, somebody on our team said, you know what, the blue dye's not working, let's try green. Or let's don't even do dye altogether. And so our original emotional buzz gets destroyed because we don't stay the course. It's over time that, and it's not until you have somebody walk by your bucket and go, hey, nice blue bucket. You go, oh, wait a minute, you didn't even notice the incremental difference. I came across a book called The Love of Laminar Flow. How many athletes are reading the book of Love of Laminar Flow? None. In that book was the phone number for the wind tunnel at the Boeing factory in Seattle. I called up Boeing, and this is what you hear, wind tunnel. It's like, oh, hey, can I get in your wind tunnel? Like I said, who are you? And I said, well, I'm a speed skier. He goes, what's that? I said, well, I wear a skin-tight rubber suit and a Darth Vader-style helmet. The guy said, wow, this sounds kinky, but this is Seattle. Come on down. And so before you get here, make sure you paid in advance. Paid in advance? What do you mean paid in advance? Could you sneak me in? And he goes, well, no, this is a federally regulated facility. I can't sneak you in. I said, well, I'm broke. I can't get into it. He said, well, that's a dead end. When you reach a dead end, you're automatically, what's the competition not willing to do? Can't afford a wind tunnel, but I can afford a friend with a really fast car. So got on top of my buddy's car. The only speed skiing suit that I could afford at the time was free. This suit was a pink rubber suit, a hot pink rubber suit, standing on top of my friend's car, bombing down the road at 100 miles an hour. And the biggest fear was not crashing the car, it was getting arrested. Folks, I'm wearing a pink rubber suit. Yeah, never mind. So anyway, do what the competition is not willing to do. You know, there are experts out there. There's people out there. You know who should be on this call right now? The people that aren't on this call, because you're making the effort to move forward and advance yourself and research. In the same breath, we can actually do what the highest performers aren't willing to do. So take that little extra step. Doesn't have to be big steps. It are gold dots. Now you see that gold dot at the top of my cell phone. That gold dot is meant to be a trigger for your emotional buzz. Encourage you to have a gold dot that triggers not just a goal and not just an affirmation, but something that elicits an emotional response, something that has an emotional buzz attached to it, something that it's aspiration you would love to create, but something that has a little bit of anxiety attached to it. At no time did I think going to the Olympic Games was a realistic decision, but I did think that it had an emotional buzz attached to it, and that was that north on the compass. That was that piece that every time you see your goal, they will snap you in the direction of that emotional buzz. Here's a fact. You will gravitate towards your current dominant thought. Are you the architect for your dominant thought? Or is the dominant thought occurring to you because of the environment we're in? This COVID crisis that we're going through, this COVID camping that we're kind of locked in and just staying the course and all that, do we have a dominant thought by our design, or do we have a dominant thought that's occurring to us? So make sure your goal dot has an experience attached to it that means something to you. That's why we started with clarity of vision at the beginning. That clarity of vision is more than just vision. It's clarity of an experience, commitment, constantly re-upping, consistently do what the competition is not willing to do. And the first run, first World Cup, 10th place, 10th out of 120. How does that happen? No ski race experience. How? There were 4 billion neurons and 2,000 neurons headed in the same direction. The ant was making the decision to be in the Olympic Games. The elephant had an emotional buzz attached to it where just the thought of it was like, oh, I'd love to have that. When you have an emotional buzz, when you have a physical reaction of it, that's a litmus test for alignment of your ant and elephant headed in the same direction. That means when you have a gold dot that elicits that physical reaction, those 2,000 neurons and 4 billion neurons are headed in the exact same direction. Things happen in your favor when that alignment occurs. Other athletes will have all sorts of reasons why they can't get to a race. If you want to be a better racer, race. If you want to be a better salesperson, sell, not sell, but the pitching. If you want to be a better entrepreneur, stay in the game. It's just not to appear to you. Go to every possible race you can possibly go to. Go attend as many of these calls through Glow as you possibly can. You see your name top 10 in the world. Is that a coincidence that the gold dot and being ranked 10th in the world happened? I mean, I had no ski race experience. Is it a coincidence, or are you the architect for your truth? Because you'll gravitate to that which you believe to be true. And it's not the truth of the ant you're worried about. It's having 4 billion neurons think that something's true as well. Aligning intention with the subconscious agenda will simply launch you forward in your business. No matter what the challenges are, and COVID crisis could be an excuse or it could be an opportunity. Fear. Fear can be such a powerful disadvantage. And when fear happens, confidence goes down. And when confidence goes down, performance goes down, and the results are poor. And so what we default to in our lives is say, okay, I don't like these results. I'm going to change my performance or what I do, my actions. And there's a relationship between fear and confidence. When fear is high, confidence is low, and then you end up having poor results. What I'd encourage you to do is flip the gap and have low fear and high confidence. Irregardless of the amount of experience you have with COVID camping or a new business or a new marketplace, is to say, if your confidence is high and fear is low, this would explain beginner's luck in a way, because they don't know to be afraid. They don't know what they don't know. And so confidence can actually naturally go up, and then performance is better, and then the results are better. The inflection point, the thing that can make that occur, is to have fun. The decision to have fun prior to is a conversation from the ant to the elephant saying, just have fun, just have fun, just have fun. Standing at the course in speed skiing, you're sideways to the slope, just about to point the skis downhill, and then a guy starts arguing over here about 15 feet away. His nickname was Pig. And Pig was screaming at another guy, and that was just so distracting, going, well, who does that? It'd be like going to the PGA behind a pro who's just about to tee off and go, hey, like this. So to have the Pig doing what he was doing was just so rude. I thought, forget about Pig. I got a race run to do. That's right. I'm going to have fun. That's fun. And I imagined my body shape as a bullet. That's right. Not fast. Like, what does fast look like? But a bullet going through the air. That's right. I'm a bullet. And I remember it, and then have fun. Remember, have fun. And looked at the French starter, and he looked at me, and he held up the stopwatch and said, I said the go. Now, you have a 60-second window within which to leave. If it hits 61 seconds, that start watch will go, deet, 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 and then you're disqualified. I didn't know what was happening, and then I realized he did say go already. So I picked up the ski, started to go down the mountain, picking up speed, 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, talking out loud to myself, saying, that's right, I'm a bullet, I'm a pig, I'm a pig. Then I started to think, well, you are wearing a pig suit. And then I started to think, wait, the pig on skis. It started to laugh out loud. If you ever go to a speed ski race, you hear a sound, it's unnerving, this human body going by, this. And if you listen carefully, you can hear this, help. Well, in this case, they heard this. Busted a gut, first beam, second beam in the World Cup race, and known I'd blown it. Blew it. Had a shot at breaking the national record, and I was a pig. Got to the finish area, looked up on the speed board, and 208 kilometers an hour. 208. Didn't break the national record, shattered the Canadian national record, and I was a pig. Looking over friends of the media running at me, I was thinking, how's a pig? What's going on here? What happened? Very, very simply, the ant got out of the way. The elephant was able to take care of the task at hand because I was so distracted because I was having fun. This may sound trivial if you didn't hear this story first, but it's the decision to have fun that will be the inflection point of you performing at the highest level. Control. We can't control the environment, but we can control what we bring to that environment. You can control what you bring to the environment with routines. A routine prior to every race run. Get there early. Why early? Well, you manage stress. in a stress response, if you get there late, breathing is shallow, you cut off oxygen flow to the brain, specifically the amygdala, which kicks into fight, flight, or freeze. So, but when you get there early, and step 2, you can go through a breathing exercise, oxygenate the system. Visualize the outcomes you want to occur in this sale, this negotiation, this speech, this Zoom call, for example. Bring in the 5 senses. What does it look like, smell like, taste like? The vortex technique is just bringing in energy, getting a vortex of energy into you that's the highest and the best, the just really positive energy. And then, of course, a decision to have fun. Decided to change things a little bit. Instead of having fun, I thought, I'm going to chew nails. I'm just going to make this happen. I'm just going to drive and leave it all out there. It's just going to drive and make it happen. I don't know why I thought chew nails, but that's what I thought. In the final run of the Olympic Games at about 138 miles an hour, hit a bump. Before it was a roller, but at that speed, it was a speed bump. Chest hit the knees, popped up, popped back down. But in that time it takes for you to blink, drop down to ultimately 15th place. And in the Olympic Games, no second chance. Folks, we all hit bumps. And it was devastating. I don't know how 14-year-old athletes or 16-year-old figure skaters can go, oh, I did my best. I'll come back next year. You know, it's like, oh my God, it was devastated, moping around. And then overheard my dad say, those Olympic Games were the greatest experience of my entire life. And then he said something that I would hope every son or daughter could hear at least once. And he said, I was so proud of my kid. What was he proud of? The end result or this Olympic journey we set out on in the first place? Folks, we all hit bumps. So it was finally overhearing Dad say those are the greatest experience of his entire life, and he was so proud of his kid that I realized that, wait a minute, just have what? Fun. And then ended up 18 months after the Olympic Games, started speaking professionally, ended up being inducted into not just the Canadian Hall of Fame for speakers, but also the American Hall of Fame for speakers, with the likes of Zig Ziglar and Og Mandino and Jim Rohn. At the time, one of the youngest inductee into the Speaker Hall of Fame. How? Having gold dots of what you want to create. Be the architect for your truth and move forward. Do what the competition's not willing to do. I know I've run out of time, so I'm going to leave it at that point. Hand it back to Michelle. And thank you very much for your attention on this story and this formula. We are COVID camping, but we'll get out of this. We got this. Take care.